Yesterday's question period ushered in the winter session of Parliament, and the Liberals were up to their usual petty bullshit. Poilievre asked some very poignant questions about why the Liberals are trying to recycle the Trudeau-era GST rebate that never worked out anyway and didn't give anybody any relief. He asked why, if the inflation was due to global factors and external factors, why was our inflation the highest in the G7, double that of the United States? All of the, factual things that we are dealing with. And all they could do, like usual, was talk over him, giggle, and boo. They literally started to boo and giggle when he was asking the question of how can you blame external factors for our inflation. And this went on back and forth between him, the government house leader, and the finance minister. And the other thing I found interesting was the fact that they are very gleeful that two Conservative MPs have crossed the floor to the Liberal caucus. And while that should trigger a by-election, and it is annoying, and the constituents who voted those people in based on the Conservative platform definitely have the right to feel misled, it is not as though even 20 Conservative members cross the floor, which would be huge. That there's 138 Conservative MPs, I believe. So if 20 of them cross the floor, that would be big. That would be a big chunk. But he's acting like 2 is 20 or even 10. And then he's saying that Mr. Poilievre is going to have to fight for his leadership this week. And the only reason I can think of that he's saying that is that there's probably going to be a vote on the budget again and on the GST rebates and everything that Carney announced yesterday morning. That's the only thing that I can think of that would make them say that Poilievre is fighting for his leadership. It's not true, right? Because a vote of, even if a vote passes, that doesn't mean Poilievre is automatically up for a leadership review. And he definitely isn't up for a leadership review when they just had one in August. And he won his riding in Battle River Crowfoot. So I really, other than being petty children and basically going, na, we got 2 of your party members, ha, 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 that's the only thing I can think of. And the fact that they're doing that openly in Parliament and having a good old time, and Poilievre and Andrew Scheer and all of them are over there saying, hey, if you actually cared about Canadians, you would, take away the industrial carbon tax. You would take away the GST on more items. You would take away all of these things, right? You would lower the rate of GST. You would lower the rate of income tax so that you wouldn't have to rebate this much money to Canadians. And all the Liberals can do over across the aisle is make fun of the Conservatives because 2 members went over. And what's funny is their bill that they want a third reading for, they don't have a third reading scheduled yet. So basically what they're doing is they're making fun of the people and bullying the people that they really want and need to vote for this bill to pass, including the Bloc Quebecois. And we're going to get there in a minute. I've got some audio for you. And I understand that this is one of our least favorite French translators, because it's the girl who's always halting and stuttering with her English translation. But this is a brilliant question and back and forth between a Bloc Quebecois member and the government house leader. And this member from Saint-Jean brings up valid historical points, because apparently they want to like completely change the way French history is taught and talked about. And I really, for Canadians that are listening, this is really, really important, especially if you grew up learning about the 1837 rebellions. They actually want to change the history of why the Battle of the Plains of Abraham happened and what happened after the English won it. Like, it's bad. It's really bad. And this member from Saint-Jean, I don't often back the Bloc Quebecois, but this is absolutely brilliant, and I just want to I want you guys to listen to this audio.
The Honourable Member for Saint-Jean. Mr. Speaker, Quebecers and French Canadians learned something new last Thursday. According to the Prime Minister, the Battle of the Plains of Abraham was not a conquest by the English, it was the beginning of a great partnership. According to him, the ancestors of Quebecers and English Canadians rose from the battlefield that morning and said to each other, "Guys, let's stop fighting, celebrate our differences, and build Canada."
That's honestly the way, during COVID, my oldest son was learning about the civil rights movement because it was Black History Month. And they basically made the civil rights movement sound exactly like that. Oh, everybody just one day decided that we all need to stop hating each other because of the color of our skin. And like, it was all very nice. It was like, no, bitch, that's not what happened. And this is also with what's going on with the Battle of the Plains of Abraham. There was 150 years of anger and bitterness and hatred. And like the way that the French and the English saw each other in Canada was awful. Just let's keep listening.
Mr. Speaker, if the Prime Minister wants to create some new heritage minutes, will he review his history rather than rewrite it?
Good question.
The Honourable Government House Leader. Mr. Speaker, English Canadians and French Canadians built a very great country, one that is the best in the world. We created great prosperity and mutual respect for our official languages and human rights, Mr. Speaker. No one, not the Bloc, will minimize this accomplishment. Nevertheless, Mr. Speaker, we're going to continue to work with what concerns Quebecers, i.e. affordability, job creation, prosperity creation together, Mr. Speaker.
That is such a non-answer. And also, by the way, the reason it took such a monumental effort to create this country was because of the hatred between French and English Canadians, or British American, North Americans at that point. And it took the fact that Georges Cartier and a couple of other French pro-Confederates that were very well respected among French-speaking Canadians to bridge that gap with Sir John A. Macdonald and the province. Like this was huge. To the fact that the Charlottetown Accord in 1964, it took another 1864. It took another 3 years to iron everything out and create the Confederacy of Canada, because of things like the Battle of the Plains of Abraham, because of the things that are about to be mentioned that even happened after the Confederacy of Canada, which is why this is so frustrating.
The Honourable Member for Saint-Jean. Mr. Speaker, if you listen to the Prime Minister, when French was banned from being taught in the Maritimes, in Manitoba, in Saskatchewan, in Alberta, and in Ontario, it wasn't to erase us, no. It was to bring us together.
That is true. By the way, that did happen. French was banned from being taught in any English-speaking province for quite a while because they were basically It's crazy. The French were lower than the natives. And people didn't think much about the natives back then. And the Métis were like, it was white English people, natives, French, Métis. That was the hierarchy.
When Quebecers were excluded from power and business, it was for their own good. When the founder of Canada said that Louis Riel would be hanged even if all the dogs in Quebec barked in his favor, we just misrepresented his love of pooches. Mr. Speaker, when is this Prime Minister going to learn our history for real?
I'm sorry, that's a great line. Because that is I love that line. Because Jean-A MacDonald did actually say Louis Riel will hang even if all the dogs in French Canada bark in his favor. In Lower Canada bark in his favor. Also, why do you think it was called Lower Canada and Upper Canada, even though Quebec is geographically above Ontario and where Ottawa and all that was? Because French was considered lower. Okay? That's literally why. And so for this member to say, I guess it was just because we misrepresented our love of pooches. That is fucking brilliant. That is brilliant. And if these freaking idiot liberals can't get on board with the fact that French Canadians, as much as we like to shit on the French, are an integral part of Canada. And the reason our country is the way it is because of the rocky history between the English speakers and the French speakers. And we need to not erase that. We need to not whitewash it and forget it. It's the same with the United States and how we need to not forget the struggle from the abolition of slavery through Jim Crow, through the civil rights movement, but we also cannot stay in perpetual victimhood. And I think honestly that as much as we like to shit on the French, they do a very good job of trying to remember their history, but also trying to build from their history and move forward, but not to forget. And this, between making fun of middle income earning Canadians by laughing when Mr. Poilievre and Andrew Scheer and others bring up lowering GST in general on more goods than it already is, and lowering income tax, that's just a ha ha ha, what a stupid idea. Those stupid conservatives, they just hate Canada because they don't want to print money hand over fist. And then they go over to the Bloc Quebecois and go, fuck your history, fuck Canadian history, fuck everybody. You guys are just silly. This is not how you get what you want, liberals. I'm really sorry. The time of just listening and believing your liberal nonsense, and I'm saying this as somebody who sits in a very middle position and has in the matter of some of the stuff that Trump is doing, called out the right as much as the left. But I'm sorry, you guys need to understand that the time of just, oh yes, whatever you say is done, because there's no proof that what you want to have done is working. In fact, it's been proven that the opposite needs to happen, and we're all starting to see it. And that's why all of the stuff from the left is getting louder and more violent, because A, they've been allowed to do it for so long, and B, now we're like, no, stop it. Stop overspending. Stop rewriting our history. Stop trying to take over and they don't like it. So that's what happened in yesterday's question period. I will watch today's and let you know what happened in today, because it's getting interesting, let me tell you. Especially with the French. That was cool. Let me know what you guys think. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.